myself, Senator Kirk. Yep. Patrick Reader. And Mario Gutierrez. Here.
I'll motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, Reader. Second. Kirk. All in favor?
Aye.
One absent. Reports. Student reports. School reports. Not. Board member communications. Anyone?
Glad to be back. Had a long trip. I missed you guys a lot. Just ready to get the school year started. I know everyone else is. Summer's too short.
I have a story about that. That'll be another time.
And, looking forward to Saturday, ribbon cutting for Roseman Elementary, and hope to see everybody there.
Just welcome back everyone, and really busy time of year and getting everything going, especially with the new school trying to be done. And fingers crossed, everything will be done by Saturday. And we'll see everybody there outside.
Thank you for coming. Again, you know, school's getting ready to start. It's been a busy summer. Mr. Weinstein has almost lived here, I think, the whole summer. He has been keeping a real good eye on the new construction of Roseman Elementary School, and I believe that everything's going to be just fine, but just like everything else, it's new. There's going to be some kinks. We'll figure it out. We usually do, so. But welcome back.
I do everything too. Just welcome back, and hopefully we have I know we will have a good year this year at school with the new school and all the new add-ons and construction and all. So let's see everybody on Saturday. Thank you. RTA report.
I didn't make a list, so I apologize if I ramble. In fact, I will tell the story. You say the summer is too short, and in fact, it is in a way. Even though our total number of days that students are in session hasn't changed, just the way our calendar has been built has changed, which has expanded the length of the school year by 1 to 2 weeks, which has in effect shortened the summer break by 1 to 2 weeks. So yeah, it is a shorter summer, even though it's not additional work days. There's ways we could address that, but you brought it up.
You're always in.
You brought it up.
You're always in my calendar committee with us.
As you said, obviously interesting situations arising with the building of a new school. I do want to thank Raleigh, Nino, Jeff for being really responsive, for trying to address the issues as they can. There's things that are totally out of their control, and that's, they're still willing to listen to people complain about it. But they've really responded well to some of the issues that have come up to try to address those. I also applaud the teachers who are involved in some of those difficulties with being flexible and trying to find temporary solutions. And so there's really a nice cooperation going on around there. And fortunately for me, I'm just able to kind of sit back and watch it through the email stream. And once in a while, put my 2 cents worth in. So I appreciate that. I meet Monday with all of the new teachers, which this year is somewhere around 50, as you're seeing on your list tonight, an additional list for approval coming up. And I don't even know what our total teaching staff will be. It's probably around 175, 185, I'm just guessing, but 50 new teachers or teachers new to us in that group is huge. Obviously a concern that we see so many new hires with temporary credentials. I'm sure you've talked about that. Again, not a lot we can do anything about because there's a massive teacher shortage in California, which I fully understand with the attacks on teachers in public education. I don't know why anybody would want to go into the profession. There are wonderful benefits about being a public school teacher, and but there's also a lot of drawbacks, so I can understand why there's a shortage. And it impacts us because of our tremendous growth. If we want to address that in future years, the best way to do that is sweeten the pot and be more competitive and be more attractive to people who are looking for jobs. So instead of them being hired in different areas, or if we can even bring them from outside areas, we have to be the place that they want to go for. And there's ways to do that, but we've got to watch how we spend our money. I understand that. So last year at this time, I told you the story about, at this time of year, every teacher has their back-to-school nightmare. We all have one, and I had mine like 3 nights ago, so 3 or 4 nights ago. So it'll work out. Everything will be fine.
Did you wake up in a cold sweat?
No, I just, it's one of those where you dream, no matter what I say, the kids are now listening to me, and I don't know what any of their names are, and they still don't want to do anything I tell them to do. And luckily, that doesn't happen when the real world is. So.
Get dressed that way.
No, not one of those issues. It used to be, my biggest nightmare used to be the fact that I was transferred and having to work in a high school. I don't know why that's a nightmare, but it was. And then I tried it, and it was a nightmare for a while, and then I fixed that too. So that's, we'll figure it out. As somebody said, we'll figure it out. Thank you.
Any comments from the public? No comments.
So a lot of incredible work being done during the summer. I do want to specifically point out the teachers of Roseman Elementary School. Teachers at all the schools. Teachers of Roseman Elementary School, Raleigh and his maintenance staff, as well as the custodial staff, and our subs that come off of our sub list from the maintenance and custodial that are now movers and assisting teachers moving into classrooms and helping unload boxes and moving desks. And so everybody's pulling together great. The administrators at this site also very excited about Saturday 10 o'clock at the new Roseman Elementary School. We'll have a ribbon cutting, and then from after the ribbon cutting, say 10:30ish to 1 o'clock, we'll have tours of the facility. So we'll have opened some sample classrooms, the admin building, the kindergarten area. They'll be able to see the field and the blacktop and the play area, and really walk around and really get a sense of the scope of the school, the size of it, how beautiful it is. And also, we're very excited about the new Early Childhood Development Center. We are really excited about bringing TK and pre-K to its own site, which is the old Roseman Elementary School, renamed the Early Childhood Development Center. And we will have pre-K and TK. We have 215 pre-K and TK students there. So we are very excited about that opening. That was planned actually for August of 2018, but because of our massive growth since March and February, we really had to make that jump leap earlier in order to make sure that we have enough room for our K-5 students at both West Park and Roseman Elementary School. I think everybody's going to be very impressed with the new school. I want to compliment the construction company for really doing a great job, really outstanding work quality, and I think everybody will recognize that. And we will, as Ms. Kirk said, we'll work the kinks out as we find them, as we do when you move in, to a new place. But I think everything will work out great, and by January of this year, the entire facility will be 100% ready to go, and we'll be having a great time. So, thank you all for coming tonight.
I will make a motion to consent items A through M. Actually, A through R.
All set.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against?
Motion to approve all personnel.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any absent?
Resolution.
2017-1801 to eliminate one classified confidential supervisory position. Eric.
This is just a reorganization of the food services department.
I'll make a motion that we accept the resolution.
Gutierrez.
A second.
All in favor? This one's in operating.
So we had to, as we discussed in our previous meetings on the bond issuance, we had to resubmit our waiver because the wording of the bond waiver wasn't what we thought it was, so we had to reword it and resubmit it to the state for approval. And because of that, and also because of the increased AV in our area, which astoundingly went up significantly again, we are able to authorize a higher level of bonds, and so we get to start this process all over again with the resolution stuff. The informational part of the resolution in a week from now, the actual action item. So I'll turn it over to John, who will talk about that.
Thank you. Well, good to see you all again. This is it's good news. We have, commented, assessed valuation. We're up 9% for this current tax year. And yeah, 9%, and the total assessed valuation now is a little over $2 billion for the entire district.
That's
what so that's a sizable leap. And what that has done is that increase in the assessed valuation allows us to issue a larger amount of bonds in this Series D that we're looking to issue, and still stay below the $60 maximum tax rate per 100,000 of assessed valuation. So we're able to absorb that little bit more debt that we were talking about back in maybe 2 months ago or so. We're looking now on the resolution. It says up to but not to exceed $7 million principal amount. The true issuance amount will be closer to about 6.7 million. But we always ask for a little more, then we bring it down, ratchet it down. And that 6.7 million principal amount is about $1.3, $1.4 million more bonds than we were looking at just 2 or 3 months ago. And that's because of this assessed valuation increase. We thought it was going to go up maybe 6%. It actually went up by 9%. And also, it's also partly based on the projections that we have for continued growth of assessed valuation in this area. And you can see on the slide here, under the assumptions on page 2, the item where it says estimated change in assessed valuation. We have 6% here for the tax year 19 and also for 20. We had previously a 4.5% increase for year 2020, but now we have it at 6%. So that's another factor that allows the bond issue to go up to this asking for $7 million not to exceed, but in reality it's going to be closer to 6.7. But also on this page, just for information purposes, this transaction is featuring capital appreciation bonds, which requires under AB 182 that we have 2 consecutive public presentations of this information. This is the first one, the informational. Next week will be the one where the board will actually take action on the resolution. The repayment ratio, according to AB 182, cannot exceed 4 to 1. This is much lower. The lower the better. And this is only 1.61 to 1, and just a hair above an all SIB structure. So that's really very good. You're paying, projection is you're going to pay very little interest here, comparatively to what historical bond transactions of this type have yielded. The transaction cannot exceed 25 years. We have a 24-year tenor on these bonds. And just the last bullet item here is, without the use of the capital appreciation bonds, we couldn't do this on all SIB structure. We would exceed $60 maximum tax rate under this election of 2008 bond measure. And if you go to page number 3, you can see the growth in assessed valuation in the table here. We were looking here for year 2018-19, we've got 8.96%. Again, we were projecting, thinking it was going to be closer to 6%. That's a sizable increase. And also the year before, 6.21 was a sizable increase too. So the assessed valuation, as I mentioned here, is now exceeding $2 billion for the district as a whole. And so on the last page here, when are you going to see the money? That's the main question here, I guess. The money, the bond transaction, we're projecting to close and the wiring of the funds to occur on October 4th. So it's coming up fairly quickly. We're looking at the, as I mentioned, this is an informational presentation. Next week is the action on the resolution and the other legal documents. And then we'll be posting the preliminary official statement on September 14th, and then pricing on the 21st, and then 2 weeks later we close. So it's coming up quickly, and I think that this is all very good news for the district. We're looking at a little bit larger bond issue, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them now. No questions, you've heard my speech before.
Yeah. Seems really familiar.
You just explained it right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we
Nothing.
vote on that?
No, it's just that information.
Okay.
Curriculum and instruction. Marcus?
We have not had any wins.
And actually, B is, the report, is the after report for last year.
Okay.
So when they do all their site visits and everything, and as well as go through our compliance for teacher certifications and being assigned to the right classroom, they give us a corrections report. So you could see on that report, like it'll say leaky water fountain, and then, that report is just to show that that they have accepted all our corrections and stuff from the 16-17 school year.
Excellent. A motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 7:33.
7:33.